I thought I might just go over a couple of things I use frequently when I'm traveling that might be helpful when you're out and about and could make it a little easier to travel. I'm gearing this towards people with Parkinson's, but it's not necessarily exclusive to that. So the first thing I recommend is getting a bottle with a lid that you can trust, something that is really spill proof even if it turns upside down in your bag. And I have a couple of options that I use. That upper bottle was a very popular brand, and I'm not getting into brand names here. But what I like about it is that it is vacuum sealed, which means that anything in it will stay the temperature it's supposed to stay. Cold stays cold, hot stays hot. It's stainless steel on the inside. And then the lids are modular, so if you don't like the lid that comes with it, you can pick up another one. I actually cracked that lid maybe about a year ago, and just replaced it for $4 or $5. And the most important thing about it is that it is completely leak-proof, and it is. One thing about vacuum bottles is that they typically can't be dishwashed. It'll break the vacuum seal. But other than that, they're pretty convenient, and it's not such a big deal to actually soap it up every now and then and clean it out. The bottle below it, actually, I bought last year or earlier this year in Portugal. I was at their version of REI, and everything I've ever wanted was there for about half the cost or even a third. I found my exact brand of trail running shoes there for literally 50% off. And I bought this bottle for like €6 or €7. I mean, for something almost nothing. And there's supposed to be a little filter in there for making tea. That actually doesn't work very well, so I pulled that out. But it's a vacuum bottle. It's completely sealable, and I use it when I go into an airport and I'm about to hop on a plane. I'll go to a coffee shop and put it in this rather than one of those cups. I think there's nothing worse than trying to negotiate your carry-on and your personal item and have to deal with holding a cup of coffee in your hand with a lid that you're not quite sure about that may or may not leak or may not splash. So it's just really convenient to have the two bottles. I don't personally like to have coffee in the one that I drink water from, but that's my own personal taste. If you can't tell or you don't care, one will be all you need. To kind of keep it on that theme of keeping things neat while you're on the plane is using a towel. I bring something. This is a very absorbent towel, and it's, I don't know how big it is, maybe 16 by 16. And it's something I keep in the back of my bag. This is my personal item bag that I carry and put under my seat. And it's just real convenient. If there's a spill or something bad happens, you don't have to wait for someone to find something for you, like some napkins. You can use this towel. It'll be better quality. And then another thing I do is I spread this out on my lap and on my clothing when I'm eating during my flight, and that gives me some extra protection, makes it really neat and clean, and then I use the napkins to give you just for eating. Now, I'm sure you know that you have to bring your medications with you. Don't put them into something that you check on your luggage, that you check into the hold. I would actually say that you really want them on that personal item I just mentioned. So if you have a bag that you're going to stick by your feet during the flight, that's where these pills should be. When I was going to a different pharmacy, I got these containers, and they have these really cool lids on them that are interchangeable, so they're actually bi-directional. If you can see that one right there. Actually, here's a close-up. And what's cool about this is that you can change the direction of it and double up like I did with my pills, or if you have some kind of issues with your grip, some fine motor control, this is a very convenient way to put the lids on, because you can grip with your finger, thumb and forefinger, and it makes it really simple to actually open and close. I like to do it because it allows me to pair up those, and if you see, I have the prescription medications in their bottles with their labels, and that's really important. You can get into some real issues abroad if you don't have the prescription with you. And then the other bottles there, if you can kind of see, the upper part is actually some antacids. There's nothing worse than being on an airplane and having some reflux and not being able to do anything about it. And then below is just some supplements. I take SAM-E, and there it is in a little bubble pack. So when you're flying and you want to get a little bit of rest, I think it's really helpful to have a sleep mask. Okay, so that's the thing up above, and you can buy these about anywhere. And then I have earplugs. Those are just cheap foam earplugs, and I either replace them every now and then or clean them in between use, so you can use soap and water on them. And then they're sitting on an inflatable neck pillow, And neck pillows are helpful for a lot of reasons. I like the inflatable ones because you can change the tension. So if you're actually not using it on your neck, but maybe giving you a little bit of a cushion as you fall asleep against the window side, and on a long flight that helps. And then the other thing that's nice about this, that all these fold up nice and small, and I put them in a ziplock bag, and I just take it in my carry-on. It's really easy to go with. Sometimes if I'm on a longer flight, I want a little more pillow, and this doesn't look like much. This is a travel pillow that you might get from a camping supply store. It's got a little bit of memory foam, and then you can actually blow it up with air and make a really nice pillow. So this is about maybe 10 by 20 inches, and again, you can change the tension. This is a little more like a real pillow because of that memory foam in there. It gives it a different kind of stability. So I really do like this. I don't typically take it with me on domestic flights because it's kind of overkill, but I did bring it with me for this flight mainly because I was going to be, in the plane for about 10 hours. So another thing I think is important is to bring a good supply of Ziploc bags, and I usually bring some quart-sized bags, and then I bring some little lunch bags with me too. And there's never a bad time to have one of these around. As you can see, I put my receipts in there. So the bottom one is just any receipt I get while I'm on this trip, I put it in that bag, and then when I get back, I scan them all in, and that's my taxes. Or if I'm a little bit lazy or running behind, I just, with a black magic marker, write the date and where the trip was, and that is something I can use later on for taxes. You can't quite see it, but above there is a receipt and all the information I got for a SIM card. And a SIM card is kind of like your access key for your phone. And I make the recommendation, everyone has a different carrier. I've done it both ways, where I've used my carrier and just got a European plan when I'm out here, especially if I'm out here for a long time, 5 or 6 weeks. But I'm here in Milan for about 10 days, and so I just bought a SIM card. It cost me 19 euros, and they put it in for me, and it gives me, I forget, 4 or 5 gigabytes of data, which is plenty, and some phone time and some text. And that's about all I need. And then, as you can see, I put it all in that baggie so that everything's protected, because you got to put your old SIM card back in when you leave. And I'll make a recommendation kind of off the cuff. If you're doing this, I often do this when I'm in the airport, because I think the airport is really good about vetting the vendors in their facilities. So that's one thing. I'd be a little hesitant about going to some place just off the street that I don't know very well. In this case, I actually went to some place that was big that kind of looked like Circuit City. It was called Media World, but I'm not making an endorsement. I'm just saying go to a larger vendor. Another benefit of doing it at the airport, though, is that they'll, obviously take the card out for you and set you up. And if you're doing it at the same airport, when you come back, you can stop by that same person, and they will fix you back up and put it back together. So it's nice if you don't want to deal with the tech side of it. They'll actually take care of everything for you. They're real nice. I had a really interesting experience. I was in Amsterdam's airport about 3 years ago. I was doing a little bit of work for the Parkinson folks over there, a continuing education program. And I was at Schiphol Airport, which is really kind of a magical place anyways, and I go to this one little place, gosh, I wish I could remember what the name of the vendor was, and there was a guy there that had tattoos everywhere. And I'm not talking like tattoos of like his favorite thing or some kind of iconic thing. He had actually tattooed himself with colors so that he looked like somebody from another planet. And that guy was the super nicest, most helpful guy I've ever worked with. He was super awesome. Fixed me up, gave me the best deal he could, and then when I came back, he was right there again. I really wish I would have taken a picture with him. I could have put it in here, because it was one of those don't judge a book by its cover. That guy was awesome. And again, at the airport, and I make that endorsement again. So you'll see here, I'm just packing some snacks here. I packed this on the way there. Today I was at a farmer's market. It's Saturday, and so again, if you bring in a plastic bags and you get some good local fruit, you can put it in there and take it with you. I'm going to take it to my little conference tomorrow. So again, you can never have enough of those. When I was traveling in Portugal this summer, I actually had a couple of gallon size. I never really needed those. So I think quart and sandwich bag size are all you really need. Okay, now my final bit of advice here is to have a wallet for traveling. I bought this at a conference in Sweden. Actually, I was the MDS conference, and it's perfect size. It fits my passport on one side. You put some money in there, so I keep my American cash there when I'm here in the EU. Typically what I do is I don't walk with my passport. I lock it up in my hotel. So you keep your American cash there, your passport on the one side, and then if you can see on the other side, I have an extra credit card. I got some United Club passes, and the one thing I want to bring your attention to is that Global Entry Pass. Global Entry is one of the pre-check systems that we have in the United States, and I cannot recommend it highly enough. It's about $99 for 5 years. You fill out a little online application. They schedule you for an interview. In Colorado, you have to go to Denver International Airport. It takes like 10 minutes. They look you in the eye. They ask you a couple questions. And what this does is, within the U.S., it gives you TSA pre-check, meaning that you get to go to the faster line, and you don't have to take your shoes off, and you don't have to take your gels out. It's essentially traveling like it was before, things got pretty scary in 2001. Added benefit of Global Entry is that if you're traveling internationally, when you come back, it gives you access to an automated teller machine, and you basically walk to that machine, you put your fingerprints in there and pass your card through it, and you're done. So you don't have to do customs, and that saves a lot of time on the way back, particularly if you're flying back in through Newark or something like that. That's a very busy port of entry, and you'll have 80, 90, 100 people waiting in line at any given time. You can skip the line really quickly. There are other programs out there. There's Sentry, which I think is really North American. There is TSA PreCheck, which costs about the same. That's why I think Global Entry to me was the one that was the best bang for the buck. And again, for $100 for 5 years, if you do any traveling at all, I think it makes a lot of sense. You speed up your times. You don't have to do a lot of dressing and undressing in the lines, and it's just a nice way to do it. So I have other recommendations. I'm going to save them for another video because I think they're a little more general. I would love to hear your feedback or your ideas. If you have an idea about something that you found to be very helpful when you travel, please post it. Take a picture of it and maybe even write a little note or give us a little audio feed of what you think is helpful and why.